Hi everybody, I'm Zilla Blitz and welcome to our continued adventures with British Tank Ace. In our previous mission, our tank got destroyed, 2 crew members were killed, and I broke my arm. It's now 6 months later, my arm is functioning, we're back in action, and we have a new tank, the Matilda II, which is right behind me. Let's jump in and get this started. So a number of things to go through before we start our next mission. Let's recap our career so far. Let's talk about changes to our commander status. We'll take a look at our new tank and our new crew, and then we should be ready to roll up our new adventure in our brand new Matilda II. So far to date, we've had 9 missions, 8 successes and 1 horrific failure, where I broke my arm as the commander. Our gunner Huvian and our loader John were killed. 3 other crew members wounded, and they've since moved on to another tank because time has fast forwarded 6 months. It's now February 1941 and the Africa Corps is in the theater. So we could run up against Germans and or Italians in our upcoming missions. Now, let's update our status here because we have a number of things to go through. First up, you'll notice we lose all our war trophies. Our Italian restaurant, all our Italian restaurants, our Italian rations went up in flames with our tank when our tank was destroyed before. So a catastrophic loss of all that food and our trophies. We had so many. We do keep our medals, we keep our prestige. I believe we keep our existing experience, unexpended experience points, and we stay in the same unit here, which is the 7th Armored Division, the Desert Rats. So with that in mind, there is one thing for us to possibly change here, though, is was a sergeant now, but I've served 6 months and hospital time counts. So we make a roll, and on a 1 to 4, we are successfully promoted to the next level, which would be Staff Sergeant. Now, there are some die roll modifiers if you receive some awards and things, but none of the awards that we've received so far qualify for those die roll modifiers. So we just need a 1 to 4. Be nice to get this because if we can get 2 promotions, we go up to officer status, would allow us to get some different levels of different types of medals here too. So let's get a 1 to 4 and get that promotion. Yes, excellent, good. So we are now, instead of a regular sergeant, we are now a staff sergeant. And our next promotion after 6 more months could get us up to an officer rank. So that's great. I was glad we could get that. And with all that being said, let's go over now and talk about our new tank. Now, we have 2 prestige points as differentiated from our prestige level that we can spend. But the way the rules go, it looks like when you have this catastrophic wound and you're out for a long time and you come back into the theater a good time later, you just automatically get the tank. You don't need to expend these prestige points to get it. So we have got a new Matilda II and a new crew, so let's go take a look at that. So here is our brand new Matilda II. So many good things to like about this tank. We do need to give this one a name, so throw some name suggestions down there for our new Queen of the Desert here. We never really did name the last one. Some things to talk about. Our firepower is a 5. It still fires that 2-pounder. Now, however, we will be running into some German tanks that have better armor than the Italian tanks. So range, close range, distant range, and side armor, hitting turrets and hulls, those types of things are going to start to come into play if we're going to knock out some tanks. So it's going to get more interesting from that perspective, whereas with some of these Italian tanks, if we hit them, they were going up in flames. Likewise, from the opposite perspective, our armor is tripled over what it was in our previous wimpy tank. So our turret armor is 6, hull armor is 6, and side armor is a 5. The opponents we're going up against are going to have some difficulties penetrating that unless they can get to things like close range or get flank shots on us. So we do have a lot more survivability with this tank. We do fire regular AP ammo, and we only have the coaxial machine gun, so our ability to take out infantry is much more limited than it was in the previous tank. That's the one place where we're not quite as good as we were before when we had those 2 machine gun turrets in the tank that we could fire at infantry before. Now, one thing to note, in our last mission, we had to use our stamina chit to keep the commander, me, alive. This is a one-time use thing, so that's gone. So we can no longer go from a killed result down to a serious wounded result with the stamina chit there. That is lost to us forever. We do keep our sixth sense skill, that's per mission use, and Let's talk about our new crew. We only have 4 crew members in the Matilda II, as opposed to the half dozen we had in the previous one. But in all 3 of the people that were at the top of the previous waiting list responded to the call for service. So we have, our gunner is Dave T. Our driver is an American serving in the British tank, G.I. Joe. And then our loader is Paul A. Welcome to the Matilda II crew, everybody. I hope the 4 of us will have a long and prolific career in this tank. One other thing to mention about the Matilda II is that it is a slow vehicle. It's -1 on chart B5, and then it takes 2 movement actions to attempt a change in hull status or to change the range. So instead of it only being 1 action, we are slow, and there are other penalties here for movement. So not a very nimble tank, but what it makes up, what it loses in nimbleness, it more than makes up for with this heavy armor. So very happy to be in something where we're not going to just get hit and light up like a Roman candle. And with that, it's time for us to get started here. We're now up to the February to May 1941 mission assignment chart, which means that we could have German forces. The green dots are ones that are Italian enemies. Anything that doesn't have a green dot is German. So let's see what we get here. We get, a 12. Assault! Oh, outstanding. And it is an Italian force that we're facing against. So the same as before, but we probably have some different tank compositions. So we'll be doing an assault, and let's see if this will be in a sandstorm. The weather chart is still the same here. We get a 9. Clear weather, excellent. So we'll be starting at long range, which I think will help us here. And then we need to roll now for the terrain chart. Let's see what kind of terrain we get. We get 5, which is open. So clear terrain, open weather, clear weather, open terrain, and we'll be doing an assault. Assault mission, clear weather, and then open terrain. Let's see what type of enemies we have. Now this is a different chart. 1941 to 1943 Italian is substantially different here. Let's roll to see what we get. We get a 6, which are 2 tanks and 2 infantry. Okay, now the tanks now, however, are different for the Italians. If we look here on this 1941 plus Italian chart, the CV-35, the weak tank, is gone. The M1139 has been largely put out of action. We now could run into M13s/40s or M14/41s, but those are only in, would be April of 1941. So that's not yet. So I assume they're going to be M1340s at this point in the war. But let's see what we get here. We get a 6. So it's not, the M1441s are not in service yet, so these must default to the M1340s. So both of the tanks will be these M1340s. So the M1340s for the Italians here are relatively strong. They have a penetration value of 5. Now our armor on the turret and hull is a 6, so at normal ranges they won't be able to penetrate that. However, our side armor is a 5, so if they do flank us, they could create some problems for us, especially at close range when the penetration would be even higher. Their armor values for the turret is a 4, for the hull and the side is a 3. Our penetration value of a 5 will have no problems against the hull and the side armor at long ranges or medium ranges, but at long range we will struggle if we do hit the turrets with our fire there. So the penetration in the armor values here become much more subtle than they were in the earlier part of the war, where basically was if you hit it, it goes up in flames. So we'll see how all these play out as we get further into it. And then our last roll here is for enemy quality. We get a 2, which is normal troops, a morale of 4. I'll roll now to get our enemies in position. Most everything starting off on the right here, with only 1 lone infantry squad off on the left, so we can concentrate our assault here on the right. Now this will be an attack type of mission. There's a possible counterattack at the end of this mission, but we're going to start at long range, and then we'll be, I think, concentrating our attempts here on this right side. Now it does say we do get an artillery assault fire mission here before we start the attack, and then the enemy will fire first. Other than that, it looks like we are ready to get going. And with that, it's time to get this assault started. We're in our new Matilda tank. We are going to concentrate on this right side, but before we can get there, the enemy's going to fire at us first in this first round, but we do get to start with this field artillery mission. We are going to pummel this strong point here on the right side. Now, if we look at the high explosive attack, we'll do the infantry squad first. -3 is pretty good, but there is a +1 modifier because the infantry is dug in, which leaves this at a -2. Seriously, we get a 5 or less though, we could wipe this infantry out with artillery, making our job all that much easier. Oh, we get a 7, which takes us down to a 5, which is a 1 step loss plus a suppression on this infantry. So some good damage to start off for this infantry. That'll help make things easier for us later in this assault, I think. Now, next up, we have to see if we get any results on the enemy tanks. The best we can get is a buttoned up, but it is a -3 result, and a buttoned up would mean they would be less accurate and less likely to hit us. Let's roll for the tank on the left. Our first artillery round comes in on 11. -3 is 8. That's way off target. No damage. Let's roll for our next one. We get a 7. -3 is a 4. Excellent. So this second tank is now buttoned up, in which that'll help. It's going to make it less accurate. So we'll just drop this buttoned up marker behind it here, stacking up the markers behind these tanks. Very effective. I think I'll take these results for the artillery round first. And now we go to the enemy to see what they do. We'll go our way across left to right to see if anything decides to target us. Let's start first with our Italian infantry over here. Again, if it's a 1, it fires at us. If it's anything else, it fires elsewhere. Oh, they are picking on us. So now this infantry becomes active and firing at long range. No die roll modifiers. Let's see what the results are. They get a 5. Nothing good for them. So we are safe from our first infantry attack. However, they do get the previous target now going forward. So they have acquired us on this infantry firing at us here. So that will help them in subsequent rounds. Let's go to our left tank and see if that one engages with us. A 4, it does not. The middle tank here, a 2, it does not. And the infantry suppressed on the right-hand side, a 3. That is cowering or firing elsewhere. So we do survive the first Italian round with only 1 infantry squad picking on us at long range to little effect. And now it is time for us to have fun with our new Matilda 2 tank. Our first action, I think, I want to close to medium range, and my thinking is that will solve the problem of the weak penetration against the armor of the German tanks. It will give us a better chance to hit, and especially because these tanks are hull down, they're going to be hard to hit. So we're going to use, in the Matilda, it takes 2 actions to move forward. We are going to move forward here, and at the same time, we're going to angle to the right. That's second action there. Now we have to roll on our movement chart here to see if we become immobilized at the end of this action. The weather is clear, so 2 dice rolls, we need a 2 to be immobilized. However, our driver is buttoned up. I'm not buttoned up. I didn't mention this at the beginning, but our driver is buttoned up, so that's -1, and it's -1 because it's a Matilda tank here, and the terrain is sand or hills. It is not. It's open terrain. So it's -2 on this die roll. Let's hope our Matilda does not get immobilized. No. Excellent work. G.I. Joe handling the new Matilda with aplomb here. He leads us off to the right. We're now facing our enemy, and that ends our turn. So now we're going to roll for an event check. Let's see what happens here. We get a 5. DE1 random axis anti-tank gun. Oh, that was juicy, but there are no anti-tank guns here, so nothing happens here. But now we are at medium in range. We go to our next round, and we go first. It's time to light these these Italian tanks up, these M1340s. Did I say German tanks before? They're not. They are Italian tanks. So we get our first shot. Let's go for the most dangerous Italian tank here, the M1340 on the left, because it's not buttoned up. So we'll try to hit this one. Now at medium range, it is a 2 to 6. We have not acquired the target, and the target is hull down, so it's +1 to their die roll modifier. We are not buttoned up. I am open and looking for targets, so that helps us out with this one. So it is 2 to 6, but it is target hull down, which is +1. So we need a 2 to 5 to hit. Dave T opens fire with his first shot. Oh, yes, that's a good omen. Our firing luck here has kept up. We hit the M1340. And we have to see first whether it's on the turret or not. It doesn't really matter. For 1 to 2, it hits the turret armor. A 4, it hits the hull armor, which is a 3. So it is a penetration value of 5 of us for our new Matilda 2-pounder against the 3 on the M1340. Penetration is greater than the armor. So we're going to roll 2 dice here. We get a 4. Oh, that's just effective enough here. There are no die roll modifiers on this, but DE, the first Italian tank with our first shot, goes up in flames. Excellent shooting by Dave T to start us off here. It's a good omen for us starting out. And that was our first action. So with our second action, we can do something else, which of course will be to fire at this other tank off to the right. It is the same sort of attack, the same numbers. Our second action here, we need a 2 to 5 to hit. Normally 2 to 6, but the enemy is hull down. 2 to 5 to hit. Oh, Dave T says, Hoovian, hold my beer. Another hit. Oh, it's good to see our luck is back here after the horrible luck we had in the last mission. Once again, same sorts of thing. Let's see if we hit the turret or not. No, we hit the hull on the front, but it doesn't matter. Our penetration value is greater. We get another 5. Boom! Second tank goes up in flames. Wow, we're off to an amazing start here as Dave T is just lighting up these Italian tanks. So that is our turn, and now it is time for the enemy to go. The infantry here will fire at us. We can see if it gets buttoned up. It has a -1 die roll modifier now because it's acquired our target. Other than that, there are no penalties or results. Ooh, sorry, just a reminder, this infantry is no longer suppressed. It's a new turn. So, but it's this infantry on the left that is firing. See what they get. They get an 8, -1 is a 7. Which is no effect on us here. Now we need to see if this infantry, which was hit hard by the artillery, has recovered, and if they're going to be firing at us. 6. No, they are busy firing elsewhere. With that, round 2 comes to the end, and we go now once again to the event chart here. Rolling for the event, let's see what we get. We get a 5. We destroyed another random axis anti-tank gun again, but there are no random axis anti-tank guns available to us to hit, so no effect there. And that brings us to the end of round 2. As we go to the third round here, our Matilda will fire its coaxial machine gun against this already reduced infantry here. Now it is +1 because our driver who also fires the machine gun is buttoned up, and it's another +1 because the infantry is dug in. We're firing on the high explosive chart, machine gun attack against the infantry, +2 on this. Let's see if we can knock this out. 6 +2 is an 8, which suppresses the enemy. That's good. Now, this also means we have now a previous target on this infantry here. So it's -1 for us shooting this next round because we'll take our second action and we're going to fire again right on the infantry. So that means that we have +1 because it's dug in, +1 because we're buttoned up, -1 because we've acquired the target. So +1, another suppression would wipe this out. 11, +1 is a 12. Now that would be a stoppage, only a natural 12 is a stoppage. So we suppress the infantry, but we do not knock it out, which means that we're gonna have to do this all over again. And now we go to the enemy's turn. This infantry will fire on us. So we have first they're going to see if they can button us up. It is an acquired target, so it's just -1 on the die roll here. Other than that, nothing happens. You get a 7, -1 is a 6. There is no effect. And now that we've fired on this suppressed infantry over here, they will fire us as well. They have not acquired us yet, but they are now active and shooting at us. So we'll put active over here for them. A lot of markers for them. So no die roll modifiers for them. On the versus tank chart, they get an 8, which is no effect. So the enemy has no effect on us. We have no effect on them. We're going to now roll for the event again. Let's see what we get for an event. We get a 3. Axis reinforcement, a self-propelled gun. I think, however, there are no... Yeah, ignore Italian self-propelled guns in 1941. So there are none, and so nothing appears, which means that we are done with our third turn now, and we go to the fourth round. And we'll be firing our actions first, going up against this infantry, seeing if we can knock it out. It's +2, -1, so the total die roll is +2 on the high explosive chart. We fire again, we get a 7, +1 is an 8, which suppresses the infantry again. And by the way, we are almost out of ammo on this. We only have 1 round of machine gun ammo left in our machine gun. We'd have to reload after this. Hopefully, we can knock it out this time. We get this time, again, +1. We fire, we get an 8. +1 is a 9. Yes! Second suppression results in a step loss, which wipes this infantry out, takes them out of the picture, and by rule, we know that this infantry now decides to either surrender or retreat, and they are gone. The battlefield is clear for this assault, and we've been successful in our first mission. However, we have one big roll to do, which is to see if there is a counterattack. So die roll for a counterattack is a 6 on a 1 to 6. We get a 4. There's no counterattack. We've taken the position, and this mission comes to an end. Our first successful mission in our Matilda. Some good firing by G.I. Joe with the machine gun, and by Dave T with the 6-pounder here, the 2-pounder here, as we knock out 2 tanks on 2 shots. That's a good start for the Matilda. So the first thing we do now is to go check the battlefield to see if we can find something here. We find an Italian pith helmet. No Italian rations for us. So we drop our Italian helmet into our collection, adding that to a new collection of Italian souvenirs. This is now our 3rd mission in combat since we had our last experience point, which means that we get another experience point, and we are up to 4 experience points. And that means the thing we've been saving up for is we're going to expend these 4 experience points that take us down to 0. We're going to buy the gunnery skill and give it to our gunner. The gunnery skill is a -1 die roll modifier on rolls to hit, and it's a consistent, persistent benefit. So it's not just a one-time use or anything. It's good for the entire time. So this is a huge advancement to our gunnery, and I'm looking forward to Dave T now. Even though he's only been in 1 mission, I think those experience points carry over. Perhaps it's me as the commander imparting my wisdom to our crew here. But Dave T gets a -1 die roll modifier for gunnery. That's going to be big. Our Matilda could be a very, very effective fighting machine now. And with that, we don't get any medals. We don't get any prestige points. No other promotions are there. A successful mission. We are done. So our first successful mission in our Matilda. I'll put our link to our next mission as soon as we are ready. Still in February 1941. I am liking this Matilda.